Our previous course was on load and boundary conditions. Now let us move on to element properties in this course, under which we have basic concepts and definitions and creating element properties. Basic concepts and definition. This session describes several important concepts and functions that are related to the pattern element property application. Element types. Element types helps to define the physical characteristics of a model. The table here shows the supported element types of MLC Nastran structural analysis. You will notice in looking at the table that the 2D element plane can be a shell, bending panel, 2D solid, membrane, or a shear panel. All of these element types can be constructed with the same element topological choice, but they take on the attribute of the element type when the element property is applied. The attributes of different element types are an important topic in engineering, and it is beyond the scope of this guide to describe the attributes of a shell versus a bending panel, and so on. Bending modeling beam library. Modeling structures composed of beam can be more complicated than modeling shell and plate or solid structures. First, it is necessary to define the beam extensional torsional stiffness and make complex the function of the beam across a sectional dimension. Then it is necessary to define the orientation of this cross section in space. Finally, it is the centroid of this cross section of offset from the two finite element node defining the beam element. These offsets must be explicitly defined. Fortunately, Patran provides a number of tools to simplify these aspects of modeling. Element combination. The element properties form allows you to choose many combinations of dimension, type, option, and topology. The table here shows a list of many possible combinations of options for two-dimensional element in Nastran and Patran. Particular combination of element property options are given special names. A commonly used element in MSc Nastran is the standard homogeneous plate. This element results from choosing a combination of 2D shell, standard homogeneous, and quad 4 topology on the element property form. Assigning element property set to model. To assign the element property set, you have to define to the analysis model. You must specify an application region on the element property form. You can specify the application region as a collection of one or more FEM or geometry entities. You can either type the entity name or select them in the modeling viewport. Effect of changing analysis code or type. All the element property sets you to create are associated with an analysis code or type, selected using the preferences analysis menu or the new model database form. If you change the analysis code or type preferences, the existing element property sets are modified to use the closest matching element type in the new preference environment. All applicable property data is automatically transferred. Changing back to the original analysis code will not be necessary to restore the element property definitions to their original state if there is no direct mapping. Element property types, names, and numbers. A property is any information required to define FEM element properties as required by an analysis code. These analysis, thickness, spring constants, areas, degree of freedom, offsets, directions, masses, materials, names, etc. Each property is of a specific name. There are 9 different property names like integer, real scalar list, vector, material name, character strings, node, coordinate frame, and nodal field name. Every property is classified as one of these types. Element property fields. A field is a scalar or a vector quantity that is function of up to 3 independent variables. A field name is prefixed by F:, and can be defined by a table or PCL expression. The first one is viewing element property. The element property application shows action allows you to select a marker plot, scalar plot, a tabular plot for viewing the element property sets that have been assigned to the region of model. Show marker plot. Select this action to view marker graphic symbols that provide visual feedback about the location, magnitude, and direction of displayed element property. To remove them from the screen, turn off the general marker display in the display function assignments menu or click on the broom icon to clear the display. Show scalar plot. Select this action to view specific element properties in your model using a fringe plot. To remove the plot from the screen, select the Display Entities menu and change the render style to wireframe, or click on the broom icon to clear the display. Show tabular plot. Another way to view element property in your model is to display the table which lists all element with the selected property in the current viewport, or all viewport in sequence along the associated set names, property, type and value. Element properties application form. Element properties are grouped in sets. Each set has a unique name that you define and is associated with one analysis code, analysis type and element type. Element properties that vary reference field. To use the element property application form, follow the steps shown on the screen by pausing the video. Action. The table here describes the action that you may choose on the element property form. Dimensions and type. The following table lists the dimensions and element types you may select in the preparation of a MSc Nastran structural analysis. By this we come to the end of the session. Let us move on to running an analysis in the next session.